Hi angels and welcome. I'm your host Lisa Everding, founder of Earthy Angels, and I'm on a mission to empower women to live authentically and to take exquisite care of themselves. You can find us on earthyangels.com or head over to our show notes to follow us on socials. Girls, this episode was inspired by the incredible women's circle that we just recently had. It's funny, one of my girls always says to me, one of my circle groupies, our circle regulars, she always says to me publicly in circle, "You are my goddess." And let me let you in on a little secret. There is nothing special about me. All I have done is learned to tap into some of the rituals and practices that I'm going to take you through today to unlock your hidden superpower so that you can become the powerful creator that you have always been. To connect with your inner goddess, it's going to open you up to feel happier, healthier, more authentic when you embody this gorgeous divine goddess energy. So let's dive in, girls. Hello, my beautiful friends. I had the most incredible women's circle last night. It was all about unleashing your inner goddess, about unleashing that divine feminine energy. And we had the most amazing circle. The girls loved it. I led them through this incredible journey of a meditation that I went through myself, that I recreated and took the girls through. And the energy in the room was like on fire. I could feel this tingling in my hands and feet, which is where I feel a lot of my energy. And we had the most incredible evening that I'm like, we need to get this out to the wider community. It was amazing being in the container of circle and sharing that in circle and going through all of the beautiful experiences like meditation and being there in the container with women. So I can't recreate that on a podcast for you. However, you'll have to come to circle, but I can still share the message and still share the underlying value behind really connecting in with that divine feminine energy, because we all have a masculine and a feminine energy that we embody, and both are required, both are a necessity. But we seem to be living in such a time where girls are just living in such a masculine dominant energy. We're constantly doing, being, having to be somewhere, having to race to the next thing, having to compare or keep up or fit in or compete to get ahead. And it's just not conducive to fulfilling our real true inner fulfillment and happiness. And when we tap into this beautiful divine feminine energy and allow that to really take the lead, this is where we tap into our superpower, girls. This is where we tap into our intuition. We tap into our inner wisdom. We connect with our higher selves and we get guidance. We get answers. We get everything that we really need from this feminine energy. And then we use the masculine energy to act. We still need that masculine energy to get things done. So both are very important, but just asking yourself, where are you spending most of your time? And the majority of people are living in that masculine energy, which is why so many people are just feeling exhausted, not fulfilled. They feel like they're running on empty. They feel like they're in burnout mode. And neglecting your divine feminine energy can result in stress, fatigue, resentment, and just a persistent sense of dissatisfaction with your life. And in severe cases, it can lead to illness and depression and real burnout. And many women are turning to those instant fixes to help them cope, whether it be coming home to a glass of wine, whether it be antidepressants or high intense distracting workouts, instead of really diving within and learning how to shift that energy, learning how to unleash that inner divine goddess energy. And so that's kind of what we spoke about in Circle, is just trying to really find that balance, but also understanding that it's a real necessity, girls, to unleash your inner goddess. And we went through in meditation was powerful, and we went through in meditation, I guided them to unlock their vision of a divine goddess. It could have been, maybe it was an ancestor, like a mother or a grandmother, somebody who embodied that goddess feminine energy, or maybe like a vision of who you see as a goddess. It could be, like a warrior woman or an Egyptian, beautiful Egyptian goddess, kind of back in the ancestors, just to try and kind of bring some of that energy that is missing, that needs to kind of probably come to the surface a little bit more, and just start to get that little bit of stirring in our roots. The meditation was incredible. I wish you could have been there with us, but it was so powerful, because within each of us, that goddess feminine energy is represented by like yin, Gaia, Mother Earth, the moon, and cultivating that goddess energy is a practice in the art of unconditional love. So if you've ever felt truly comfortable in your skin, or really felt unconditional love for yourself or for another woman, or maybe even a stranger, where you just look at somebody with their eyes of love, that is kind of what it feels like you've met your inner goddess when you have felt that energy. And girls, our superpower is our intuition. It's our sense of peace, our connection to source, to our higher self, our connection to Mother Earth, our connection to our heart and soul, our stillness, our being, our peacefulness. And it's that inner wisdom that guides us. When you maybe feel like you're stuck with something and you don't know what to do, you don't know which way to turn, you need a little bit of guidance, or you need a bit of an insight or some wisdom. It's what comes through when we connect into our intuition. But if we're constantly living in the rat race, if we're constantly rushing, having to be somewhere all the time, do something all the time, and it's really hard to connect in with that goddess energy without taking a few moments to slow down and to stop and just actually wanting to open up your connection to her as well is just as powerful, because so many women are working in male competitive, they're competing with men in the workforce, and so you kind of feel like you have to really come from that masculine energy just to hold your job, or just to prove that you're better than, or just to get that promotion or get that pay rise, where when you actually tune into that feminine, and it's hard in a masculine dominated work environment, but if you would actually take a moment to step back and tune into that feminine, that is your superpower. So instead of trying to compete with other people all the time, actually tuning within is where you will just unlock so many doors and so many opportunities for yourself. So it's really, really powerful. And we've lost that inner ability to trust in ourselves because we are so busy and so distracted that we don't hear the whispers of our soul, because that goddess energy, that divine feminine energy is there all the time, speaking to us, giving us guidance, giving us just those tiny little whispers. But when you're so busy, you don't hear it. And I often think to myself, oh my goodness, if I don't listen, she might shut up and she might not talk to me or give me the guidance that I want. And so you need to listen to her, and you need to listen to that voice that comes through, but also you need to act. Like when you get those little whispers of, it might be an example, when you're just so tired and you're so fatigued and you're just running around with the kids or with work, and you just feel like you're on the cusp of burnout and you just really need a rest, and you think, I could really do with an afternoon nap, or I just need to just put my feet up for an hour. But the ego kicks in and says, well, you can't do that. How dare you take permission to do nothing for a little bit? Or what will people think? What would my husband think? Or what would these other mums think? I'm not allowed to rest. I'll feel guilty. I can't do that for myself. So it's this battle between the ego and the soul. Your soul is telling you, just take time to slow down, fill your cup up, replenish, and then you'll have so much more energy to keep going. But your ego kicks in and says, no, you're not allowed. And so it's that constant battle between the ego and the heart, and learning to listen to the voice of your heart, because she has your best interest at heart. That's a very, very simple example. I remember years ago, when I went and saw my beautiful friend Jody from Your Soul's Guide for my very first Kinesi balance. And Jody's an energy healer, light worker, Reiki, Kinesi, everything, psychic medium. And she said to me, she's like, your head is just buzzing. Like we need to get you out of living in your head and into your heart, because living in your head is a constant, it's the mind. You're using the logical mind all the time, which again is required, but balancing it out with listening to your heart. And that was the first thing that she said to me, is we need to get you out of your head and into your heart. And at first I'm like, yeah, that's all great, but I didn't know how. And she guided me with a few things, and there's a few things that I'm going to run through with you as well, as to actually how to connect with that inner goddess energy. But that was the first thing that come to the surface. So I always remember that, and I always think, am I living from my head, or am I living from my heart? And really starting to try and get back into my heart and see what my heart and soul needs. And I also started to think, like this way of living that we're constantly on this, feeling this hamster wheel and constantly rushing, we're modeling this behavior to our kids. Like this is what our kids are seeing. This is what our kids are learning, is to be stressed, to be overwhelmed, to be constantly everywhere, and have to go to all these different school things. And they've got so much going on, where sometimes they just need to be kids, but we need to also demonstrate that by getting back to our childlike playfulness, or that innocence of just learning to have curiosity about life, and learning to slow down and just stop and smell the roses, and actually play with our kids, and really connect on a slower, deeper level with everything all around us, with people around us, with nature, with everything. And we're missing out on so many of life's simple pleasures, living this way in the pursuit of all things that really don't make us truly happy and fulfilled. We need to bring back that bit of balance, and unlocking this hidden superpower can really teach you to become the powerful creator that you're meant to be. And it can lead you to your dreams and goals. It can lead you to working in a career with fulfillment and with purpose. And so that's what I want to unlock in you today, so that you will feel happier, you will feel healthier, but most importantly, you will live more authentic, and you will be living in more alignment when you come from a place of living in this and embodying this divine, gorgeous goddess energy. And it can be challenging, girls. It can be so hard living in a world that's always so busy and full of stress and tension and constant pressure. So it's time now that we start to just stand out a little bit and speak up, because the true goddess is a silent warrior whose power comes from authenticity, self-love, and embodiment of who you truly are. And it's an embodiment of that balance of masculine and feminine, but the feminine way leads with the heart. And I'll give you an example. In Circle the other night, I had one of my girls saying that she just loves being at home with her kids. She works from home. Sorry, she stays at home with the kids, and she went back to work for a little bit. And she just has this profound feeling of guilt for being a stay-at-home mum, because the kids are in school. She said, I feel like I should be at work, but I want to be at home with my kids. My husband wants me to be at home with my kids, but I feel this constant yearning to be at home with my kids. But I feel this pressure from society that my kids are a little bit older now, they're at school, you should be out in the workforce. So she's kind of living from this place of, she has followed her heart, which is really, really great. But having this constant pressure of society all around has taken her out of alignment, and she's had to pull herself back into alignment. And she said Circle was a really beautiful way for her to, I guess, have that confirmation that she's doing the right thing. And like I said to her, there's never any right or wrong. It's what is in alignment for your heart and soul. And it's what makes your heart happy. It's what suits your family. That is the most important thing. And instead of listening to everybody else around us and everybody else's expectations, what do you need to do for you? And this is what I want to encourage in you ladies, to really Connect back in with what you need to do for you and what is in alignment for your life and the life of your family. And that's all that matters. That's it. It doesn't matter what other people around you think or do or say. What's most important is that you're living in alignment with your higher self and your soul, because you have one life, girls, like one life. You've got a short amount of time with your kids. If you want to be at home with your kids and take care of your family, even as traditional as that feels in this current times, do it, because that is what is going to make your heart happy, and that is what is going to make your family happy. And you need to listen to your heart and soul, ladies. If there's any message I can really leave you with today, is truly listen to your heart and soul, because she knows exactly what you need. And don't underestimate that divine feminine energy. Don't ignore it. Listen to it. Because what tends to happen is so many girls are getting these messages from their intuition and they're ignoring it. And so that's really important that we go back to listening to our inner voice, because she will guide us in the way that we need to. And the culture that we're living in is predominantly using the thinking mind and competing with men. And it's the divine feminine energy that creates life. She's creative. So you don't need to compete with anybody else, because you have everything you need inside for your ideas, for your creativity, you need to explore your creativity. Anyway, I'm getting off topic because I'm about to dive into how do we connect with our divine feminine energy. But that is one really powerful way it's through creativity. What do you love? What do you enjoy doing? What makes your heart happy? Where do you find the most creative, what's the word I'm looking for, where you just explore and you experiment? Or maybe you've got a hobby, or maybe you've got an interest that you love doing. And I encourage you to pursue that, because sometimes your passion and your career and your purpose lies in what you love doing and lies in what you enjoy doing recreationally, or what you enjoy doing for fun. And you can be unstoppable, girls, when you are doing what you love. Like, I, hand on my heart, absolutely love what I do. It took me a little while to have the confidence and the courage to fully put myself out there, but I love what I do with all my heart and soul. So I don't feel like I go to work, and it's a really beautiful place to be. And I find creativity just pours through me. I get ideas and I get inspiration all the time, because I'm living in alignment with my soul purpose, and I'm living in alignment with my human design. And so the creativity just comes through to me often. Like, it is so cool, and I just wish I could bottle that up in all of you. But there's lots of little rituals and there's lots of little practices that we can do. And I'll run through a few of these with you that I did share in Circle, and see what stands out for you, because you don't have to do every single one of these things every single day. You just need to do what aligns with you. You need to do maybe one thing at a time. Just start embracing one thing, and then you can move on to the next. One thing that is really, I'm going to say that all the time, just this one thing, because everything is like this one thing. They're all so powerful. But you also have to do with what works for you and what you are open to actually doing as well. So some things I'm going to go through with you today, you might not be open to doing them at the moment. They may take you a little while to get your head around, or you may not give yourself time and space to do them. But I encourage you just to have an open mind and to just listen and see what calls your attention, and see what feels really, really good for you. But the first thing is stillness. Giving yourself permission to simply be. Like, how often do you actually give yourself permission to stop? At the end of all of my classes, even though in the studio, obviously in yoga, there's always Shavasana and yoga, but even at the end of our Pilates classes, at the end of our bar classes, we give everybody 5 to 10 minutes of stillness, depending if it's a 45 or a 50-minute or a 60-minute class. But we always give people time for stillness. And I've had women come into me and say, I hate that bit at the end. Like, it's so boring. My mind is just racing. I'm like, when is this going to be over so I can get the hell out of here? And like, one girl said that to me. And then after a couple of months, she come to me and told me, she didn't need to tell me, I knew, I could sense it. And she said to me, I love Shavasana. I love relaxation at the end of class. It is my favorite. It's my absolute favorite. And I used to hate it. I said, I know you used to hate it. And she said, I come now just for the relaxation at the end because I realized that that's what my heart and soul needs. And that's changed my life. And seriously, it was 10 minutes at the end of class. But you can do this for yourself in so many different ways. So give yourself permission give yourself permission to have regular rest, to have time in silence. Set up your environment in a really peaceful and tranquil way to promote this connection. And speaking of setting up your environment, one really amazing thing that you can do is set up an environment for yourself at home, whether that be a Zen zone, whether that be a place at home where you may go for meditation, or you may go for quiet reflection and contemplation, or you may just like to set up your home in a beautiful, tranquil way where you've got plants, you've got maybe some outdoor plants. Bring some of the plants inside. Maybe you like candles. Maybe you burn incense. Maybe you have what's the word I'm looking for? An altar. You might have I know some girls that have like a beautiful altar kind of set up at home where they have some candles. They might have some crystals and their oracle cards, whatever it is for you to make your home feel really tranquil. So I'm talking about, could be your whole house. It could be your bedroom. It could be just one area in your home, or it could be a sacred space that you set up for your devotion. Whatever works for you, but just making it really calming. And when you come home, putting yourself in, like I say to the girls in the studio, there's no reason, like we've got a beautiful studio, it's so ambient, it's so calming. And I say, girls, there's no reason you can't set that up at home. When you get home, light some candles, pop some incense on, put on some beautiful playlists, a really nice slow music, and you just watch the energy of the house change. And girls, you are the dominant energy in the house, the mother is. And so how you feel ripples out into your whole family. So when you feel still, you feel calm, you feel connected, it ripples out into your whole family. Embody your sensuality, ladies. And this is something that, again, I might talk about the studio a little bit. I will see people come into the studio who are quite disconnected from their body. And I go, that's okay. This is so great that they're here, because I'm going to teach them how to become embodied, not knowing lefts from rights, not being fully grounded because we're living in our heads, and not even the lefts and rights, just not really feeling the sensations in your body when you move, when you practice, feeling the breath in your body. So just starting to embody your sensuality. It can be in the form of mindful movement. It can be in the form of foods, your taste, savoring foods, pleasure, like those sensual things that I said at home. Create a beautiful sensual ambience with fragrance of candles and incense and lightly burning oils. Dancing is a powerful way to embody your sensuality. So moving your body with the rhythm of dance, physical touch, listening to nature, just floating in the ocean is one of my favorite things to do, is just like starfish it in the ocean and just float and just feel the beautiful water on my skin, watching a sunrise, wearing beautiful clothes that make you feel really nice, and taking care of your skin. All those little sensual things that make you feel good helps you embody your senses and helps you really get connected to your senses. And actually having a spiritual practice. Do you have a spiritual practice? Because having a spiritual practice can awaken a really strong connection to your higher self. And some people, this may be brand new for you, and you might be thinking, oh my God, how do I start having a spiritual practice? I find a lot of people that come into the studio, it is one first way to start to connect themselves through the form of yoga. It could be just sitting there taking some mindful breaths. It could just be asking for guidance. It could be meditation. There's many ways that you can just start having a spiritual practice. It can be through reading oracle cards. It could be through just learning to listen to what comes through to you and journaling it. It could be gratitude, just the simple practice of daily gratitude, just being so forever grateful for what you have in your life. And if you are really in a hard place, just trying to find like, what's one thing that I can be grateful for every single day. So that may take a little bit of time to have a spiritual practice, but just start, because once you start, one thing will lead to another, and then you'll just be interested in it. You'll start to read more or listen to more podcasts of people who are in that same you'll just get attracted to those kind of people and you will want to learn more. So it's important to just be patient and take your time and just dive into one thing at a time. Are you looking after yourself with self-care? Self-care is really powerful to connect into that goddess energy. Doing what makes you feel good. So self-care doesn't necessarily mean going and getting a massage. Self-care is doing things that fill your cup up, that you enjoy, that make you feel good, and that show you unconditional love. So what do you enjoy doing? It could be taking that exquisite care of yourself through movement, through nutrition, through taking that time out for you to have a break. It could just be nourishing yourself spiritually, nourishing yourself physically, energetically cleansing yourself. With things like after you've been around a toxic environment or just the heaviness and the busyness of work, coming home, you can use things like sage, light incense in the house, or sage away any heaviness is a form of showing yourself self-care. Saying no to things that you don't want to do, setting boundaries, or other ways. There are so many ways that you can embody self-care. Your mindful cup of tea in the morning. But the point of self-care is, how does it fill you up and give you energy and allow you to slow down? But it has to be what you enjoy and not what everybody else says self-care is. It was what makes you happy. Do you connect with nature? Like, connecting with nature is a powerful way to connect with your inner goddess, because the divine feminine is all around. She's in the plants, in the trees, in nature, all around us. So just simple things like grounding, getting outside, smelling the roses, and getting time off your technology, going outdoors, getting your hands in the garden, gardening, swimming, watching a sunrise or a sunset, but also learning to live in more alignment with your cycles. So that could be more in alignment with your menstrual cycle. So allowing yourself at certain particular times of the month to either embody a heightened energy where you've got that energy to go, or then you've got other times where you feel that you need to rest and you need to slow down, and listening to those times in the cycle and acting on them and following the cycle of the seasons as well. Like, do you take that time to maybe step back and retreat a little bit more in winter? Then when spring rolls around, it's where your creativity and your energy kicks in. So just allowing yourself to roll with the times of the seasons, and also eating in alignment with the seasons, which brings me on to the next topic that I've got: embracing a cooking culture. We have been massive travelers, and so many countries that we visit. What struck me was, I said to my husband, how many of these countries, like, particularly throughout Asia, and a lot of countries that we've been to, not particularly talking about the US so much, probably more like the Asian cultural countries, even back in, I won't go through them all. There's so many. But what I noticed in so many places was they had a real cooking culture, a culture of they would go to the markets and they would go and they would cook. And it was a real practice of making time for it. Was just, they didn't even make time for it. It was just part of what they do. And we live in a culture that cooking can be such an inconvenience. We're looking for quick fixes. We're looking for, I just need to eat just to, fill a void. You're not looking at it from a perspective of nutrition. So cooking, it's not necessarily, it's an inconvenience. It's an absolute necessity. When you eat, do you take time to actually chew and digest your food? But more importantly, I was watching a show the other night on Netflix, and it was called Live to 100. One of my clients was telling me about it. I don't know if you've seen it. It was such a great series, and it talks about these blue zones where people live till over 100. And in these blue zones, what struck me was the amount of, I'm talking people that were, they're walking up hills, what's that country in? I was going to say Sicily. I can't remember now. It's escaped me, but it'll come back to me. In Italy. And they were living in this village that was steep. And so these 80, 90-year-old men and women are walking up these beautiful hills, up these paths to get to their house. Then when they get in their house, they've got to walk up one or two flights of stairs. So they're constantly walking back to the simplicity of walking and eating. They're eating like pasta. They're eating foods from the garden. They're eating fresh herbs. So it's a real there was just so much cooking. The women are in there cooking, and they said they use a lot of their muscles and get so much exercise just from making their foods. Now, I know we don't all live like that, and I know that's not possible for everybody, but just how you view food. Do you look at it from a point of it's an inconvenience, or do you look at it from a perspective? And can you embody more of a cooking culture where you really enjoy nourishing your body? Think back to what our mothers and our grandmothers or other cultures used to do. You've got one body, one vessel to get you through life. So we've got no choice, girls. We have to look after this one vessel. Embracing softness, slowing down, being gentle, being kind to yourself. You don't have to push yourself all the time with everything that you do. Think high impact exercise, hustling, pushing, running, constantly feeling depleted. So just giving yourself permission and awareness that slow and steady and intuitive and graceful is just as powerful as pushing. You don't need to push all the time. Really having that balance of both, but just knowing that if you slow down, it does not mean that it's not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of laziness. It's actually a really powerful way of tuning back into you. Honoring your truth, girls, like your truth acknowledge will bring you peace. And even if sometimes admitting it means facing a bit of a transformation, if admitting it means saying no to some people, sometimes it may mean that you have to put some boundaries up to speak your truth. But it's so important that you honor your truth, that you speak with authenticity, but obviously with kindness and compassion. And we're not here to be passive consumers of what the mainstream dominant collective around us is doing. Don't be afraid to be a little bit fearless. Be determined. Speak your truth. Be vulnerable. Educate. Share your stories. Share from experience. And just be yourself, girls. Don't be afraid to be yourself, because when you live in that energy, that's when you will attract the right people in your life, when you are showing up from that place of truthfulness. Your daily rituals are so simple but so powerful. How do you start your day? So starting your day with some kind of mindful connection to whatever you want to call it, whether it's source, God, universe, your intuition, starting with some kind of mindful connection to yourself, to your higher self, it sets the tone for your entire day. You just got to look at those days where you hit snooze 5 times, you roll out of bed, you're running late, you grab something crappy, to eat for breakfast, or you have nothing, run out the door, you've got no lunch prepped. Your whole day, you feel like you're constantly running and you're already behind the 8 ball and you're constantly chasing, versus those days where you get up and maybe you start your day with gratitude. Maybe you start your day with meditation. Maybe you go and do a mindful walk. It could be some form of exercise. But the point is to connect you back with yourself first thing when you wake up in the morning, and just trying. I know it's not always easy. Look, I have a real attitude of being I adapt. I change and I adapt easily, because my kids are older now. They're 17 and 19. When they were little, my routine is a little bit different to what it was when they got into their teenage years. So my routine's constantly changing. And even now, some mornings I'm in the studio at 4:30, and some mornings my first class isn't till a little bit later. So my mornings are not consistently exactly the same, but I do make sure I embody some kind of connection first thing, even if it's just 5 minutes of listening to a really beautiful slow playlist on the way to work and just taking a couple of breaths to connect in, because I'm not doing a full meditation at 4:00 in the morning when I have to get to the studio and teach. So every morning can be different. The ages of your kids, the cycle of your life is going to be different, but just starting to, and when they were little, I used to get up before I was in the studio. I had my own personal training group fitness business, and I would get up early before my kids would wake up, so I would have time by myself. And it is so important. And my alarm just kept getting earlier and earlier, because then I was taking on clients early. But I really enjoyed that time before my kids got up. And sometimes it might mean that you have to get up a little bit earlier, but it sets up your whole entire day. And you just notice how you react differently when you've set your day up, as opposed to when you're running on lateness, when you're constantly rushing. Just see how you react to your family, you react to problems that come up at work, or you react to people on days where you've set your day up with calmness and with connection versus days that you don't. So that's what it's about. Hey, it's about experience. It's about experimenting and seeing what works and what doesn't work for you, because it's so powerful when you have a day which runs with more peace, more clarity and intention, as opposed to constantly reacting. And also those rituals, it doesn't have to be just your daily rituals, but having self-care rituals throughout your week. So just looking at the habits and rituals that you have and aligning them with your ideals of self-love, of connection, of what makes you happy, what makes you calm and you peaceful. And it doesn't matter what anybody else does, what suits you. And one thing that I didn't touch on, which I will now, when everybody come to circle, I said to the girls, dress like a goddess, like dress like, it doesn't mean it has to be sexy, sultry. It can be wearing something that makes you feel good. It could be some beautiful jewelry. It could be, maybe some girls they feel nice when they pop on a little bit of makeup every day. Some girls feel really nice when they're more touchy-feely. They like a nice fabric or like nice certain sensations on their skin. Maybe colors, maybe prints, maybe patterns. Like if you're going to work and you're in a dominant masculine energy and you feel like you're in black, like you're there to make a statement, you're there to kind of stand in your power, do you allow yourself to dress with a softness, dress with that real beautiful, that feeling where you just feel beautiful, you feel sensual, you feel beautiful, you feel just so feminine in whatever way, shape or form that may take for you, but choosing clothes based on how they make you feel. Think, soft flowy fabrics or flowy skirts or colors that you love, and not based on what the latest fashions are, or not what your friends are doing, and how they make you feel. Do you feel sultry? Do you feel beautiful? Do you feel powerful? Do you feel unique, sexy? Experiment, have fun, but just get back to what makes you feel good, because this is all about you. So think, like whether it's makeup, whether it's jewelry, whether it's doing your hair nice, maybe you wear your hair up all the time and you need to just let it out and be a little bit more softer. Just anything that makes you feel like a goddess and raises your confidence and raises your authenticity, which leads me on to the next thing. You need to feel beautiful within yourself. It doesn't matter what other people do or think or say. All that matters is what you think or say or feel about yourself, because that energy is magnetic, that energy is powerful, and that energy is attractive to the right people who vibrate on the same frequency as you, which is what you need. It all starts from within, and you're not going to align with everybody else. You're not here to compete and compare with what every other woman is doing on social media. Who cares? It's not important. It's how you feel in your body, in your skin, in your heart and soul, in your confidence, in your worth. It's how you feel about yourself within. So surround yourself with other goddesses. Surround yourself with people who make you feel good, and let go of what other people think. Let go of perfectionism, let go of comparison, let go of controlling everything, and just having a little check-in. Do the people around you make you feel good about yourself or not? Do you make the people around you feel good about themselves or not? Because I really want to encourage that we start lifting up other women, surrounding yourself with good women. And if you don't have them in your life, find them. Go to places where you might find, really beautiful women. It can be in some kind of, my whole studio is full of beautiful women. It can be in groups, in circles, in classes, in community, family, friends, mentors, even like the books and podcasts, all the things that you surround yourself with, that you take into your mental diet, that you take in spiritually. We absorb like a sponge everything around us. So just checking in with what is your association like, and do you need to clean that up? And be open to change, girls. Like the situations, the behaviors, the relationships that were appropriate and acceptable at earlier stages in your life, they might not necessarily need to continue. They might not be in alignment with where you are now, and that's okay. And as you progress and as your spiritual path progresses, sometimes you find that people may fall away from you. Maybe you feel that you don't align with certain people. So just knowing that it's so important you trust your heart and soul and listen to that intuition as well, because the people, the places, the situations, the things you watch on TV, the things you watch on social media, they all have an impact on your state of mind. They have an impact on your energy. So be protective of that and guard your energy. And you do not need to change to suit the world. You shift and you level up in your consciousness and in your alignment with your values, with your heart and your soul and your desires and your authenticity. And you watch what happens around you, girls. Everything starts from within. It is so important that you are working on your inner landscape constantly, because that is going to reflect in what you see around you. So rise up from society's current conditioning, rise up from society's what they put out there. It's not all truth. It's not all in alignment with you, you know, like just simple things. Like we're told, I'm in my 40s, I'm 45 now, and we're told as we age, we decline and we're not beautiful anymore. You see that in just simple things like you might see flash up in social media, like that comparison. Look at her now, then, and look at her now. Or what happened to this person? And it's so harsh and it's so toxic. And that's just the natural cycle of life. We are going to age, we are going to change, and embrace each cycle, because you just look at other cultures, you look at tribes that worship their elders and they worship the matriarch and their wisdom and their maturity and their experience that it brings, and really starting to honor that stage that you're at in your life. Everyone who's listening to this is going to be at a different stage in your life. Whether you're the young maiden or the mother or the matriarch, we're all going to go through these different stages. So embracing there's pros and cons with every stage, and embracing the stage that you're at for the power that it gives you at that particular time in your life. I have never felt more confident in my 40s than compared to when I was in my 20s. It is a powerful stage of your life. I feel beautiful. I feel confident. I feel I know who I am. I'm sure of myself, and I love and accept myself. And I do a lot of inner work. I surround myself with good people. But I've also learned to just embrace the stage of my life that I'm in. And society has us conditioned to a lot of the things that I'm talking about, that it's a bit woo-woo, or it's a bit weird, but we need to rise up and embody some of these practices that I'm sharing with you today, because even, like your oracle cards, your crystals, you're listening to your intuition, they are so powerful, and they will give you so much more self-acceptance, self-love. They will make you you'll just feel more connected to yourself. So I ask you to just open up your mind and heart and just explore and experiment and see how it makes you feel. And that is life. Like, it's just a constant process of, yep, this makes me feel good. I'll continue with that. Nope, this doesn't align with me. I might sort of, weed that out of my life. So just always assessing, and that's something we're always doing. We're always reflecting and assessing and clearing out. And the last 2 points I want to leave you with is service. You rise in your own sacred feminine power and create from a place of love and service. It is so powerful when you give to other women, you lift up other women, you give others compliments, or you give of yourself to help other women or other people in your life. It's a balance between service and giving, but also being open to receive for yourself and taking care of yourself, because women, our nature is to give, our nature is to serve, our nature is to want to help people around us, but also make sure that you're filling your cup up. But when you are really giving from your heart and soul, and you are sharing with people, you are giving to people, you just can't help feel good, and it makes your heart happy. And with everything that I'm sharing with you today, we need to learn to trust. We need to learn to trust in our intuition. And it's something that you just start small. You just start by experimenting and testing it out. Notice what happens when you go against your intuition. It could be something really simple, like a voice can pop in your head, and it could be something really simple that you choose to listen to, or you don't? What happens when you listen to that voice of intuition, and what happens when you don't listen to it? And so when you start to be aware and notice and have that bit of trust and faith in yourself, trust those visions and desires that come through you. I remember hearing on, I think it was from a business coach, and she said your desires are in you because they are meant to be for you. They are coming through to you because you can absolutely have them. So trusting in those desires, those visions that are coming through in you, because what is desired for you, this is how she said it. That's right. What is desired by you is destined for you. And remembering that anything is possible. You can have anything that you want. Remembering who you are, like you're a goddess in human form, your divinity in human form. We're here to live our best life experience. And it's so hard to do that when you are constantly running on empty. You need to take care of yourself. So I'll leave you with a couple of things that you may wish to write these down as some journal prompts. You may wish to just reflect on them as I talk about them. But what things are you maybe doing that are holding you back and keeping you stuck from fully showing up in your life? Asking yourself, how can you embrace more of that divine feminine energy in your life? Maybe thinking, what's one or two or three things that you can do right away that will help you step into that goddess energy? Think about that list that I just shared with you. Maybe what stood out for you in this podcast that you need to change. There'll be something that you go, aha, I need to work on that, or I need to let go of that. Maybe what already makes you feel like a goddess. Feel into what makes you feel like a goddess right now, and how can I expand on that energy? Do I open myself up to receive? Do I allow people to, do nice things for me? Do I allow myself time to open myself up to receive, whether it could be going to a yoga class or whatever it is? I've gone through a whole list with you. Think about what message would your inner goddess have for you if you were to connect in and ask her. Just close down your eyes and just mindfully breathe and say, what do I need to embody to step more into my divine goddess power? See what comes up for you. It might come to you straight away. It might come to you in a couple of days, or when you're in the shower later, somewhere where you find peaceful, you'll get a little thought that'll pop in. Note that thought. It may come to you in a dream. And what are your innermost dreams and desires that your goddess holds in her heart? Have a little think about that. And the last thing I want to leave you with, ladies, is a woman who sources her creativity and energy from taking exquisite care of herself is more powerful than one who pushes so hard that she exhausts herself and is no longer experiencing joy and pleasure. Are you having fun, girls? Are you making time to experience joy, to experience pleasure, to do things that light your soul up, that make you happy? And we all have busy lives. We all have commitments. But it's so important that you take time out to have fun, that you take time out to get back to your inner child and do what really makes you feel the utmost joy and pleasure in your life. Because I read this in my oracle card. Actually, I pulled this oracle card the day after my circle, and it was about the wisdom of the divine feminine. Divine feminine wisdom empowers you to grow into your vision, your dreams, and the fulfillment of your life purpose. And that is where all of your dreams and visions lie, when you connect in with that divine feminine and you listen to them. But most importantly, that you start to take some form of action on them. We can have all these ideas, we can have all this inspiration, but it's really important that you take action. You're responsible for the action that you take. You're responsible for prioritizing time for you. You're responsible for filling your cup up. And as much as I can encourage you to do all the things, you need to make the decision to actually do the thing. And it's worth it, girls. I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from women that I see come through the studio who I get messages all the time saying, my life has changed from taking on some of the things that you shared with me in Circle, or, from joining one of my challenges, because These messages are coming from the girls that have taken action, that have done the thing, or that have started to embrace a little bit of change and given themselves time to simply be and given themselves permission to connect with their intuition. So I want to leave that with you, ladies, that you must take action because you are so worth it. You are so, so worth it, my beautiful friends. And I am going to leave all of that with you. Hope you took something, I'm sure, because I've just looked at the clock and gone, oh my goodness, this is like 48 minutes. And I was planning to make this about a 35 minute episode, but I'm just so passionate about this. And I'm so passionate about sharing this with the world and that you took something out of it. Have a beautiful day, my friends. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye. So much love to you. Bye. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode and want more, feel free to follow or subscribe on whatever platform you listen to. You can also head over to earthyangels.com or join our private Facebook group, Earthy Angels Connect, for more community, blogs, updates, inspo, motivation, support, and to connect with a tribe of like-minded souls. And if you have a moment, we would be super grateful if you would love to leave a review. Sending you so much light and love, Angel.